rise up voices from the front lines, your window into relationships, identity, safety, emotional awareness, regulation and intelligence, unleashed potential, passion and purpose.
Welcome to the Rise Up Voices from the Frontlines Trauma-Informed Leadership Series. I'm your host, Krista Fee, and today we're going to wrestle with one of the most overused words in our culture, leader. You've seen it on resumes, linked headlines, motivational posters, leader, leader, leader. But the question I want to ask is this: what does it really mean? And more importantly, what does it cost? Because leadership, real leadership, isn't about the position that you hold. It's about the responsibility that you choose to carry. A while back, I was talking with a firefighter who told me a story from early on in his career. He was barely out of training when he found himself standing at the edge of a burning house. Senior officers were shouting commands, crews were pulling lines, chaos was everywhere. But then he saw a child's face in an upstairs window. No one had noticed. The captain was focused on strategy. The engineers were managing hoses, and in that split second, he realized nobody was moving towards that child. So he did. He shouldered past, ran into the flames, and carried the child out. Here's the thing. He wasn't the captain. He didn't have a title. But in that moment, who was the leader? It wasn't the person giving commands. It was the one who took responsibility. So let's talk about responsibility versus position. This is where we have to reframe leadership. Because in modern culture, we've diluted the meaning of the word. We say team lead when we mean supervisor. We call influencers leaders because they have followers. We put leadership in every job description as if saying the word enough makes it true. But trauma-informed leadership demands a deeper truth. A leader is someone who assumes responsibility for the well-being of others, not just when it's convenient, not just when they're recognized, but when it costs them something. Titles can be given, influence can be bought, but responsibility must be carried. So let's look at the neuroscience connection, safety and responsibility. Here's where science helps us. Our nervous systems are wired for safety. When a leader steps forward and says, "I'll take responsibility," it literally changes how the group feels. Polyvagal theory tells us that humans co-regulate. We borrow safety from others. If a leader is calm, grounded, and accountable, the collective nervous system settles. People can focus, think, and act. But when leaders grab titles without responsibility, the exact opposite happens. Communities feel abandoned. Teams spiral into dysregulation. People sense the gap, and trust erodes. That's why some of the most powerful leaders that you'll ever meet don't have titles at all. They're the ones whose presence signals safety, whose actions communicate responsibility. How about a brief historical reflection around leadership in movements? Think about abolitionists like Harriet Tubman. She didn't wait for a title. She didn't sit on a board or claim a crown. She led because she was willing to carry responsibility for lives, literally guiding people through danger to freedom. Or consider frontline medics in war zones. They're often not the highest in rank, but when they kneel beside a bleeding soldier, take responsibility for that life and hold steady in the chaos, they lead. Leadership has always belonged to those who carry the weight, not those who wear the crown. The problem today is a dilution of leadership. Today we've blurred this truth. Everyone wants to call themselves a leader. The corporate world hands out the word like candy. Leadership team, emerging leader program, thought leader, and social media amplifies it. Anyone with a platform is, but here's the danger. If everyone's a leader, then nobody's a leader. The word loses its weight. Responsibility gets confused with popularity. And trauma-informed leadership refuses to play that game. We bring the word back to its roots. To lead is to carry. To lead is to shoulder weight. To lead is to say, I will be responsible, even when no one sees it, and even when it costs me. Here's a little personal reflection. The weight of responsibility. When I first started doing this work, I didn't think of myself as a leader. I just wanted to help. I wanted to write, to speak, to sit with people in their pain. But then I started getting calls in the middle of the night, survivors who needed someone to answer, communities in crisis asking for guidance. And suddenly I realized this wasn't about my comfort. It was about responsibility. And that's the day the leadership found me. And it didn't come with applause. It came with weight. There's a cost of responsibility. It always has a cost. It costs you comfort because you don't get to step away when it's convenient. It costs visibility because real leadership isn't glamorous. It's often hidden. It costs vulnerability because if you're truly carrying responsibility, you're going to feel the weight in your own body and soul. And here's the paradox. It also creates resilience. Carrying responsibility builds meaning, and meaning fuels the nervous system with strength. The power and position will never be able to match. Let's redefine leadership in your life. Here's an invitation. Look at your life right now. Where are you carrying responsibility that no one sees? Parenting, caregiving, mentoring? Are you holding a team together in quiet ways? That's leadership. That's weight. And it matters more than any title you could put on a business card. And second, ask yourself, where are you tempted to claim a title without carrying the weight that comes with it? That temptation is everywhere. But trauma-informed leadership calls us back. Don't wear the crown if you're not willing to shoulder the pack. What unseen responsibilities do you carry that shape lives? How does your nervous system respond when someone else shoulders weight for you? Where might you be tempted to chase a title rather than embrace responsibility? The weight, not the crown. Let me leave you with this thought. Leadership isn't a crown. It's a backpack. When you introduce yourself as a leader, don't let it be an empty word. Let it be a truth about the weight that you carry, the responsibility that you choose, and the lives that you honor. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Because if this stirred something in you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you would like to bring Rise Up Trauma-Informed Leadership books, CEU trainings, online courses, or keynote engagements to your organization, click the link below and we'll create the perfect package for you. Every Rise Up training funds critical mental health and survivor needs in times of crisis, disaster, and critical incident through our partner 501c3 nonprofit organization, Battle to Be. Feel free to join the Rise Up and Battle to Be movements, our specialized private online communities, and our community safety efforts. And keep walking with me in this journey of trauma-informed leadership, because together we can define what leadership really means.
Become a Rise Up Hero sponsor to provide mental wellness and crisis response resources for those who serve country and community. Join us in the Rise Up movement today.